Welcome to the Stream of David on OMTimes Radio with best-selling author, channel, and creator of the Tya Spiritual Practice, David Strickel, shares the eternal wisdom of the consciousness called the Stream. Prepare to have your mind blown and receive clarity on your life and the universe like you perhaps never have before. And now, your host, David Strickel.
Welcome to the Stream of David show. I am here with recent Tya Bootcamp graduate and one of my favorite people, actually, Erica Lyn. Hi, Erica.
Oh, hi, David, and thank you for having me and saying those kind words.
You're always fun.
Compliment.
I don't recall. I mean, we worked together in boot camp for over 12 weeks, and since then have kept in contact, and you're always up.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Uh-huh. I sure am.
Being up is infectious, and that's why I love having you on the show, because I'm sure everybody wants a little boost of up right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Yes.
Why not?
Let's be up.
Yeah, let's be up. Let's spend the next hour just being up. This is all going to be about being up. We're not going to talk about down. We're not going to talk about dark energy or any of that stuff. We're just going to talk about being up and the value of being up. Let's be selfish with this upness and talk about what it does for us in our lives. So let's kind of dive into that. Let's get into your boot camp journey. You got in and you were wanting to change some things about your life, and then you went through boot camp. You had some major epiphanies that you can share, and then coming out, you had some major manifestations. You had some demanifestations, and then you had some remanifestations. So let's kind of just tell us your story. Let's get into that.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, I think I discovered you on Law of Attraction Radio 2 years ago and started boot camp in March of 2019. At the time, I was starting a new journey with a new business in an industry that I had no experience with. So it was like this scary place of not having a base salary, because I've been in sales my entire career, so I was taking a chance. And I figured, hey, let's try boot camp, because I was listening to you for a while, listening to the podcasts, and kind of went into it with, although we had our discovery call, my intentions were like, I'm going to make a lot of money at this job. Well, that certainly was not the experience. However, one of the things that I think was so valuable was really not focusing on, something specific to manifest, and that's something that we learn a lot about in boot camp. But I want to fast forward through my boot camp experience to, I want to say around October of 2019, and I had been in this job for, at that point, 9 months. And things were challenging for me, and I was going through the modules, and I was really having a tough time. And you and I had a conversation. I was ready to talk to the stream again. And one of the things that really hit home for me, David, and I think you remember this, is when we talked about how the language of the universe is vibration, and it only knows yes. Well, that kind of blew things wide open for me. And I don't think I really understood how powerful this boot camp really was until I understood vibration. I thought I was being positive, and I was going through my days feeling, up, and, I'm going to have a great day, setting my intentions, and things just went real sideways for most of that time. So once I understood vibration, things took a shift. And I love sharing this story. Is the afternoon that we spoke, I had stopped at, I needed to get some supplies at Staples, and I found a journal in the clearance section, and the cover of the journal just said yes, Y-E-S. And I don't know if that's a sign, but if you don't believe in signs, that couldn't have been a more powerful one.
Indeed.
And this journal has become almost a portal to me, because I started writing it right away, and most of it is just my notes around Tya, my experiences about being, my spiral work, setting my intentions, affirmations, and it's something I look at and read through and write in every day. And then a few months later, I graduated right before the new year, I think, started. And I said, hey, 2020 is going to be amazing. And sure enough, we didn't really know what
Depends
amazing
on your
meant.
definition of amazing, right?
Exactly. So, it took me a little longer to graduate boot camp, but for me, I didn't want to rush through it. I really wanted to take my time. And once I graduated, things started to change dramatically around my career. And then COVID hit, and then, things went a little bit sideways, for all of us. But yeah, the spiral work is something that has truly saved me, without a doubt.
So I love your story because it's not this, I joined Tya Boot Camp and just everything started falling in my lap and everything was perfect and it was great and I got everything I wanted and lived happily ever after, which is what a lot of people that kind of delve into law of attraction, if you will, in spirituality. I know you're into way more than just law of attraction. We'll get into that a little bit later. But this fantastical idea of everything just being perfect all the time, the part of the Tya practice is really coming to appreciate the process and the perfection of imperfection and how things flow and get fine-tuned and end up even better if we're patient with the process and trust the process, that we actually end up in a better place. But a lot of times it feels like things aren't working when really the universe is acting in your favor, as long as you understand that the universe only understands yes. So whatever your vibration is, the universe is going to say yes, more of that. So when you're trusting and when you're feeling abundant, even when things feel like they're not working right, if you continue to trust, you're going to get good results. Whereas when things go awry or you have an obstacle that arrives and you retreat or you go down your spiral and stay there, the universe is going to agree and say, yes, here's more crap.
Yep.
Here's more negative things in your life because you chose to go down the spiral in your reaction to an obstacle, and now we're going to send you more obstacles. That's a hard lesson for a lot of people to learn in learning these tools, for sure. But once you do, you really get it, and then you're able to zoom out and appreciate the whole process.
Yep.
All of it.
It's so profound, and it's true. I mean, having the ability to really understand this concept is so life-changing. And you're right, it was not it's not like everything just worked out magically. And that's the reality of boot camp. I mean, there's a lot of things that you do a deep dive in that some people never have done before. Detuning transgressors, not even understanding whether or not a transgressor was really impacting my life as, in the present moment. I never really connected the dots there. And so that was really work. It was work that really shifted my whole perception of meeting people where they're at. Most of us have transgressors that are maybe our parents or some teachers or people that we might have been influenced by when we were younger. But understanding that we're all in different phases of our journey, and that if we're looking to communicate with somebody that's in a different place, and it's not about being better, it's about just where we are on that path, saving me a lot of time and energy understanding that as well. And that's part of the zooming out piece of what we learn in boot camp.
Yeah, the zooming out process is so important because we zoom in, we dive in to transgressor energy, the stuff no one wants to talk about, no one wants to think about, but yet until we meet it and detune it, it's active. Yep. It's in our lives. It's part of us. It's haunting us. It's waiting to trigger us down into low vibration. Really, anytime vibrational flow or polarity comes through and takes our vibe down, we're more susceptible to that stuff. And it impacts us negatively until we find appreciation for it. And then suddenly it's not a negative thing anymore. And it's not having a negative impact on us when we revisit it. And that's why that whole process is so important and so transformative, right?
It is. It is. It's the most important work of my life. It's the foundation of something that I truly am so grateful for. And it's the kind of thing that you want to shout out from the rooftops. But we know a lot of people aren't ready for it. And we really just have to be the best versions of ourselves so we can set examples for the people around us.
That's very profound. I love that. And it's funny, I just did a graduation this morning. And as you know, the testimonial that we record is part of the graduation. And the person graduating said something very similar to that, that she really wants to share this with the world. She wants to shout it from the rooftops. I think she even said that exactly. And you really want to. And that's where I got with this, because I kept all this stuff to myself. You know, I spent a decade creating these tools for me to transform my life with what I was getting from the stream. And I needed a system. I needed more than just ideas. I needed a system and a systematic way to implement this as a habit of thought in my life so that I could stay on track with it. And it worked. And then when it worked for me, I literally got to a place where I could no longer just keep it to myself. I had to share it. And I really upended my life to do that very happily, and do not regret that for a moment, because I left my corporate job. You know, I jumped out of the airplane, as I like to say. I wrote the book. I started the podcast. I did the radio show, you know, started boot camp. And I'm so much happier now in sharing this with people, because I get such satisfaction from watching people truly transform their lives for the rest of their lives. There's just no way you're not going to be transformed for the rest of your life with these tools. And I'm so happy that we're able to deliver this. And the transformations are just astounding. And it's usually the vast difference in mindset and the way you're reacting to the world around you. And it doesn't matter what's going on with pandemics or politics or any of that stuff. You understand that you are creating your bubble of reality, and you're not being triggered by anything. And it doesn't take much of a trip on social media to see how triggered people get over these things, and to be able to zoom out and see all of it from a higher perspective of appreciation of all of it is a very unique way to live life.
And it's something that you can never unknow, if that's a word. I mean,
True.
Once it's right. It's once you get it, it just is. This is the way that you live your life for the rest of your life. If you keep up with the practice, if you keep really keeping mindful of where you are on your spiral, setting your intentions, you know, doing the meditations, really looking in and zooming out at the same time, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's a lifelong practice, and it's priceless in my mind. It's just it's something that I will forever be grateful for, and my future self thanks me now.
You have the best words. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Hey, it's just flowing. I'm just going with it.
Yeah. You know, I did a discovery meeting with a 19-year-old the other day, by far the youngest person that's ever talked to me about getting into boot camp. And I thought, he's not in yet, but I just thought, gosh, you know, A, are you even ready for this at that age? I was kind of like, dude, why are you even worried about this? Just go make your mistakes and do stupid stuff, and, you know, be a 20-something for a little bit, you know? But he was really wanting to get it. And I love that somebody would be starting a journey that early. Now, we have had graduates in their late 20s, but no one as young as 19. But just think of how I look back at my 30s, not with regret. It was the experience that I had. But gosh, if I'd had these tools in my 30s, the decade of my 30s would have been so different.
Oh, yeah. I think about that a lot, right? Wow, if I knew this, what I know now, if I knew then what I knew now, I think things would be much different. But yeah, that's amazing to have that kind of not only interest, but really trying to, you know, wanting to do the work at that young age. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's great. Well, it's a testament to how the world is sort of evolving. Younger generations, the stream always says that we're all born up to speed with the time that we enter. And we do see people that are younger that are grasping these concepts more and really not buying into the things that their parents and especially their grandparents necessarily bought into.
It's
not
true.
because they're bad or wrong, they're just not serving anymore.
Right, you see it all over TikTok. I mean, all these millennials are talking about law of attraction, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I understood law of attraction when I was their age, just because I've understood it my whole life. I think because I've listened to the stream my whole life, but my ego was very in the way of it at that age. Yeah. And I was really, really focused on money and material things, and it worked. I manifested money and material things very early on from nowhere. And that was great until it wasn't anymore.
Yep.
In my 20s, it was fine. But in my 30s, just focusing on that and then falling into sort of a rut of thinking that I had to have a certain kind of employment, to manifest. I was really only paying attention to part of the message. While I don't like promoting this idea that money just falls out of the sky from nowhere, and it can. I've had that happen. But I'm not a big advocate of that personally. I've never been one that wants to just, a lot of times people, will ask, well, how do I sit on my sofa and make myself a millionaire without doing anything? Mm-hmm. And I've never cared about that. I've never cared about winning the lottery. I've never cared about, quote unquote, using the law of attraction to attract millions of dollars doing nothing. That just doesn't appeal to me. I do believe it's possible. We see people manifest money and all sorts of things with no effort. And I have found money on my driveway. I've had, accounts found out of nowhere on the eve of, I think in the book, I did put it in the book, the eve of closing on my first house, we were going to be short of money for closing. And I wasn't the type that was going to pick up the phone and try to borrow money from anyone. I just don't do that. And I had a letter from a bank stating, what do you want to do? This stock plan is retiring, and you've got to do something with this money. What do you want to do with this money? And I thought, what money? What are you talking about? There's $5,500 just waiting for me. It was incredible. It was incredible. Not exactly, but very close to what I needed to close on the house. In fact, it was a little more than I needed to close on the house. So it was perfect. So I have had those experiences, but I'm just not a fan of the idea of do nothing. I want to create something. Mm-hmm. I want to help people. I want to create. I want to make something new. I want to make money. I don't necessarily want to work for money for other people. I certainly don't want to do that anymore, but I want to make money. Yeah. And I think there's something to be said for that. For
sure. Well, it is a fun, talking about, lottery and trying to manifest money. Since I've graduated from boot camp, I do a lot of fun exercises when I buy scratch-offs occasionally. The scratch-offs you get in the supermarket. And I'll tell you, I have this little ritual. When I get one, I visualize myself getting home, winning, like scratching off the numbers, seeing that they're matching my numbers to their numbers, scratching off the big jackpot or a big sum of money. And I get into the feeling, I get into the moment that I win, and who do I call first, or do I make a phone call after I freak out that I win? So I have this little fun game going on my drive home, and I have to tell you that I haven't won a jackpot, but I do win. I do win more than I lose, and it's not like I'm doing this I'm not scratching off lottery tickets every day, but because I'm constantly in a place of abundance, or feeling that, abundance is my birthright, and, why not me to win? And instead of saying things like, I never win at these things, or I don't even know why I bother.
If you're doing that, you're wasting your
I never
dollar
won.
for sure.
So now I play this game.
Yeah. Well, let's take a quick break, and when we get back, let's talk about that, and let's talk about some of your personal spiritual practice. I think that'll be really interesting to share.
Cool.
We'll be right back with Erica Lyn.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Consistently attract soulmate clients. Begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalind Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spot that activates your soulgasmic business by tuning in on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Mountain. Join me for your light language activation, and let's magnetize and monetize.
The Tya practice is changing lives all over the world. Listen to what just a few of our Tya Bootcamp graduates have to say.
Tya practice has taken my professional life, me, to a new level of abundance and happiness and joy on a daily level of existence that I didn't even know was possible.
This work is profound. If you do the Tya Bootcamp and maintain a daily practice, you will fundamentally change your life.
It changes everything about you, and it will affect all other aspects of your life, your health, your career, your money, your relationships. And I think that certainly has helped with my anxiety, with my mental health. I'm realizing that, wait a second, I do deserve the best in life.
If you're ready to release fear and old limiting beliefs and learn to truly trust the universe to deliver all your desires, then it's time for you to join Tya Bootcamp. Visit thestreamofdavid.com/TYA today and book your free discovery meeting.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
We are back with Tya Bootcamp graduate, Tya Bootcamp success, Erica Lyn.
I like that sound.
Yeah, definitely. So you definitely have your own spiritual practice that you have sort of incorporated with the Tya practice, and Tya has certainly served you well, as you've shared, so thank you for sharing that. But you have your own stuff that you're into, and let's kind of get into that a little bit.
Sure. Well, a few years ago, I became a certified holistic health coach. I started on a little bit of a wellness journey, and I wanted to get certified. Whether I was going to do it to practice in business or just for my own knowledge, I started thinking differently about everything around health. Not only what I was putting in my body, but also what I was putting on my body. A holistic lifestyle from a health perspective also looks at things like relationships, where you are in your career, where you are in your spiritual practices, and what your exercise looks like. I'm a graduate of the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and that's what they call primary foods, which is all the other things that nourish us outside of what our regular food is to nourish us. So through that, once I graduated, I started to really look at other things that I was nourishing myself, and it started to dawn on me that there are a lot of things that we use in our lives that aren't necessarily that healthy, like burning candles and using certain types of cleaners in our house, and we're breathing it in and we're putting it on our bodies. And I remember somebody saying to me, what goes on goes in, and I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. So a friend of mine was using essential oils, and so I got a starter kit and I just started playing around with it, and I had to tell you, it was a real shift in my whole perspective on what I do every day. Everything from giving myself an energy boost to helping me relax at night, to what I clean my house with. It's really become something that I'm real passionate about. People think of essential oils, oh, they smell good, lemon is nice in the morning and maybe some lavender at night. But there are so many therapeutic benefits to these oils aside from using them in place of a toxic ingredient like you might find in an over-the-counter cleaner. So I started to get really into the whole lifestyle of essential oils, and not only do I feel better, I also smell really good, and my house smells great. People come to the house, and you can really mix and match the kinds of scents that you want. But one thing is really cool about oils is that they're the highest frequency substance on the planet. That's a real fun factoid for people. Essential oils are the most potent part of a plant, and they come from, flowers, they come from the trees, they come from the rinds of fruit, and they're so concentrated. And when I started learning about the frequency of these oils, because we know everything is energy and that they are the actual highest frequency substances on the planet, I thought, well, there's nothing else that I can do to raise my own vibration, right?
Certainly.
Yeah, so whether I'm diffusing them in the house or putting them on my body, or if I'm just inhaling them just when I need a quick boost in my palms, it's really something that I really am so excited about and love to share it with other people.
So you don't burn candles in your house at all. You diffuse the oil.
Yes, correct.
Interesting. So this is new for me. So I'm going to dive into this a little bit because there's probably other people listening that think the same. So what is quote unquote bad about candles that makes you prefer? Because candles have the essential oil in the candle, right? If it's a high quality candle.
Look, candles are super popular. Most of them are just, riddled with fragrance, which are artificial ingredients that are synthesized in a laboratory to mimic the smell of like lemon or lavender. There's carcinogens in them, and when you burn a candle, if you have like one of those candles that are in a jar, you might see some black soot around the side. I mean, you're basically inhaling that into your lungs. And there's a statistic or saying that if you burn a candle for an hour, it's the equivalent of smoking a cigarette.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's new. I mean, I have heard that obviously the what's the wax that's like you get the candles you get at Whole Foods that don't have a scent. Yeah, soy and there's some type of wax that's supposed to be better than other wax, and it doesn't necessarily have a scent.
Yeah.
So I've heard that that's better. So I was wondering from what you said if there was some bad property of wax, but it's actually the chemicals they add to the wax that create the false smell. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. These are all artificial synthetic fragrances, and look, they're popular. I burned candles. I stood online at Bath and Body Works to get my 3 for $10. I was there, and then when I learned, sort of like with Tya, like once you know something, you can't unknow it. So,
sure.
And with the essential oils, I mean, not only do you get the aroma, it's the therapeutic benefits that go with it. So it's really important to choose a company that you can trust, because there are a lot of companies out there that are selling essential oils. I think it's close to a $1 billion industry at this point, and you can get oils everywhere these days. So it's important to really do your research and find a company that is 100% therapeutic. And because if you're getting it, in a retail store, most likely you're going to probably find something that's diluted with synthetics, fillers, carrier
So just
oils.
because it says essential oil does not mean that it's the quality that you're speaking of.
No, I mean, there's no regulating agencies in the United States that actually monitors what goes into a bottle of oil. So a lot of companies can write 100% organic or natural, pure. These are all buzzwords, marketing. And, really nobody's looking in these bottles to monitor it. So that's why it's so important to really know where you're getting your oils from. Because if you're putting them on your body and if you're diffusing them, you're kind of defeating the purpose if you're not getting the real thing.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. There's a really high-end luxury line of candles, and if you go onto their website, they talk about the quality of the oils that go into the candle and stuff like that. And so I like candles. I use candles a lot, and I'm not always diligent about where I get them from. Definitely. So when you said that about smoking a cigarette, I kind of stopped and thought for a minute. Wow, and you look at that definitely a little deeper for myself.
And look, we all love candles. We love the ambiance it gives us. You can get flameless candles. They create the exact same ambiance. And a lot of diffusers have some of these diffusers are beautiful. I mean, you can spend a lot of money on them, and they light up, they change colors. They're gorgeous. So really, if you think about it, if you can get the aroma, you get the therapeutic benefits, and you get the environment that you want, the atmosphere, if you want to create a vibe, you could do it with a diffuser.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the oils with the little bamboo sticks that because I use that a lot too?
Yeah, it's all artificial. You're not getting, if it's not 100% therapeutic essential oil from a company that you can really trust, it's still basically you're inhaling something that's artificial.
So no West Elm.
Yeah. Yes. Without
They
naming
make a
names.
smell that I love, and I have it all over my house. It's kind of
Yeah.
funny. I have to go take a look at it now and delve a little deeper into it. This is good information, though. It's education.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because we get asked, or I should say the stream gets asked all the time about food and all sorts of things. And they said something recently that I loved. They said that our bodies are filters. We're just giant filters. That's what our bodies really are. And we're absorbing information, we're absorbing sound, obviously air, food, water, everything. We're just absorbing our environment around us all the time. And the level of stress that we hold in our bodies has a lot to do with how well we manage these things that we take on. And we can take toxins and actually manage toxins. And this is why some people can smoke and eat cheeseburgers every day and drink every day and live to be over 100 and really not have any health problems, where other people are riddled with health problems from the things that they're ingesting. A lot of it has to do with your stress level and your attitude toward what you're ingesting. So for all of us who have been taught that everything that we're eating is bad, it really depends on your belief system. This is what we learn in Tya. It's very law of attraction oriented. If you believe that what you're eating is bad, you're already in trouble. If you're thinking, gosh, I shouldn't have this drink, but I'm going to have it anyway, or I shouldn't have this piece of cake, or I shouldn't light that candle, you're definitely doing more harm to yourself with that negative judgment and the stress that you're creating around consuming it. And you're much better off changing your belief system. But obviously, if you can't change your belief system, you're definitely better off moving to something that is healthier so that you don't have to worry about changing the belief system, right?
Totally.
Or do both, because you're still filtering. So if you're putting healthier things in that your body doesn't have to work to filter, there's no downside to that.
No.
That's the way I look at it. There's no
That's
downside to that. Yeah.
I mean, we're doing the best we can, right? I mean, nobody's perfect. But one of the motivations around, reducing the amount of toxins that I was bringing into my home. I mean, look, we don't have control of what goes outside in the world, but, we do have control of what products we buy and what we bring into our homes. But one of my motivations of doing that also was to really, help my connection to my own stream and my own intuition, and I'm a practicing intuitive medium also. So giving myself the gift of, nourishing foods and healthy products in my house and just doing the best I can, I feel strengthens my connection. Whether it's my, listening to my own intuition, connecting with my own stream, and doing readings for clients. So I think it's such a holistic way to live, and I wouldn't have it any other way these days.
Yeah, well, I think if your belief system is around the healthier things that you put into your body, the healthier you're going to be, then that's going to be true for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, there's no downside to that. And there are other people that say, well, I want to drink whiskey and smoke cigarettes and eat steak every day and try to train my mind to be okay with that. Well, are you really bringing yourself to believe that or not? If you're sort of half joking, again, the universe only knows yes. So if you're not bringing yourself to that, you are doing better cleaning up your act. And that's something that I have been challenged with too, is just making peace with the food that I want to eat. And generally, I'm going to eat something that's healthier. Yes. All the time? No. Am I going to drink alcohol sometimes? Yes. But in my mind, wine is healthier than beer.
Yes.
So I automatically feel like because of there's certain properties of wine that some doctors say is actually good for you. So when I'm drinking a glass of red wine, I'm thinking that I'm drinking something healthy. And I know that there's certain superfoods, and I feel really good when I eat those things. So a lot of it, this placebo thing is very, very real.
Oh, yeah.
Our beliefs are creating our reality. But if you can get ahead of the beliefs and eat things and ingest things that are better for you, and if you can burn high-quality oils through a diffuser rather than a candle, because we're all going to think now, thanks to you, about the black about the black ring around the candle. You made a very, very good point. Here in California, we have this thing called Prop 65. And I was not aware of this. I didn't live in California. I was actually living in Seattle, but I was working for a big retail company at the time, and I got California as my territory. And all of a sudden, we were having to print this Prop 65 warning on all of our invoices. I was in the furniture business. And basically, this says what you're buying is going to kill you. And I really freaked out. I said, oh my gosh, this is going to be a nightmare. You know, people are coming in and spending thousands of dollars to buy a sofa, and we're going to print on their invoice that it's going to kill them. This is the worst thing ever. This is terrible. And the people in California laughed at me, and they were like, no, don't worry about it. That's on everything in California. It means nothing. The state of California tells you that everything in your house is going to kill you. So they all say that it's just meaningless, and it kind of is, because it's everywhere. It's on every building. It's all over the place. So you just sort of ignore it. But the truth is that there are toxins and carcinogens in everything in our lives. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting in my studio right now looking at plastic and paint and all sorts of things that I'm sure are not the healthiest thing for me to be sitting in here for 8 or 9 hours a day, almost every day, when I'm working and doing things. So I'm sure that's true. But again, that's when you have to go back to the vibration of good health, the vibration of doing better where we can do better. Yeah. And not, I'm going to get rid of every toxin in my house. Right. I've encountered people like that wanted to get rid of everything. And I had a person come through boot camp told me that they wanted to detune their grandmother because their grandmother was like that. And she actually passed away at a relatively young age from cancer. And she's someone who spent her entire adult life trying to avoid toxins, and she died of cancer.
Wow.
Yeah. So they wanted to detune that. That was one of their main motivations for coming through boot camp, was to detune that. And I understand that, because if that's instilled in you and then you see the result of it, when someone is fearing something so much, the stream has talked about my fascination with Steve Jobs, and reading his biography and thinking it's so sad that this guy died of cancer at 54, I believe, even though he was so healthy. He was a health fanatic. But the stream came in and said, well, his fanaticism around health was rooted in his fear of death.
Yeah.
So what did he manifest?
Early death.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
Yeah, very. Every decision, everything we do in this life is either based in love or fear. Even if it's perceived as something positive, it could be rooted in fear. Yeah.
So, this is all about making better choices, but at the same time, making them in a yes mode. Yes, this is making me healthy. Yes, I'm healthy in general. Yes, I'm going to do better here and there, but in general, I'm healthy and I know it. And that's the best message. I love what you've shared. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to get back and wrap up and get into this a little more with Erica. We'll be right back.
Feed your soul with Waves of Consciousness on OMTimes Radio. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
The Tya practice is changing lives all over the world. Listen to what just a few of our Tya Bootcamp graduates have to say.
I'm so comfortable in my skin and who I am that it just has completely changed my world. It's amazing. I'm so full of joy and clarity every day to feel this good and this amazing. As I said, there's no words.
I can't stress enough how wonderful this program is. I was living in fear. My life felt like it was a constant Groundhog Day. Every morning I woke up, I felt, oh, here we go again. This is the first time I feel like I took control of my own life.
Probably the best thing ever is that I've always dreamed of this kind of life, and now I am living it. I'm creating it, and it's not a dream anymore, it's reality.
It's time to awaken to abundance with the Tya practice and Tya Bootcamp. Visit thestreamofdavid.com/TYA today to learn more about the Tya practice and book your free discovery meeting.
Life is a flow, and enlightenment is simply harmonizing with the way life really is. Then you find that life is effortless, benevolent, and free of all suffering. Hey everyone, this is GP Walsh, and I want to invite you to my brand new radio show that's launching right here on OMTimes Radio called The Flow of Enlightenment. I've been a spiritual teacher for decades, and my greatest pleasure is being able to share with you these deep and highly practical spiritual ideas. So join me in The Flow every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern and let yourself be transformed.
Opiates has taken everything and everyone I've ever loved away from me. Everything.
I blew my ankle out and I got prescribed pain pills by my doctor.
If making my detox public is going to help somebody, I'm all for it. I just wish I would have had a warning.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth. A message from Truth, the Ad Council, and ONDCP.
We are back with Tya Bootcamp graduate and essential oil expert, Erica Lyn. You really are. You really are. And that was very fascinating because I definitely picked something up from you in the last segment. So let's kind of get into that in a little more depth as far as your personal practice goes and other things that you use in your personal practice.
Okay. Well, there's not a day that goes by that I am not using essential oils. And if we hone in on my spiritual practice, there are certain essential oils that are my go-tos. And what I was saying earlier is that there are certain essential oils that, essential oils are the highest frequency substance on the planet. And when we put them on, or if we're inhaling them, we're automatically raising our vibration. I know the stream talks about we don't need all those things. We don't need crystals. And we always laugh about that. But you know what? There's no judgment around that. And if it's something that makes me feel better by inhaling something that smells wonderful and it raises my vibrations, so be it.
Yeah.
So
I want to say, too, they never say don't use these things.
Right.
But the teachings are always, if you don't have these tools around you, what are you going to do?
You don't want to
how are you going to raise your vibration if you don't have XYZ? Because I see people more around crystals. I think you see people saying things like that in spiritual circles that, oh my gosh, I don't have this crystal, or I need to go home right away and grab this crystal so that I can solve this problem, because they're depending on a crystal, and the crystal is a vibrational thing for sure. But the stream's teachings are always go inward first and then use the tools that you discern as your preference from that high vibrational space, right?
Exactly. So, and look, if I don't have my oils, I can still raise my vibration. But if I'm home and they're around, why not? Sure. So, one of my favorite oils to use during meditation is frankincense. I'm sure if there are listeners out there that are familiar with essential oils, that's one of the more popular ones. It's a beautiful, earthy, I don't know how to describe it. It's one of my favorite essential oils on the planet. It's one of the highest vibrational oils out of all of the oils. Frankincense, rose essential oil, I think, is the highest. And there's a scale. You can check out which ones have the higher vibrational frequencies than others. So when I put frankincense on in my diffuser, or if I just rub it into my chest or my wrists, I automatically feel better, and it kind of sets the tone for my meditation. I use essential oils throughout my day when I'm feeling like a little maybe DTS, down the spiral. I grab an oil. What's going to make me feel better? Maybe something that smells like citrus. One of my favorites is a blend called Citrus Fresh, and it's a combination of orange, lemon, tangerine, and spearmint. And it's the combination of some of these oils are synergistically combined to create a certain outcome. So Citrus Fresh, I know that's going to make me feel better. And of course I'm setting that intention right away, and then keeping that essential oil in and around me for a period of time really does work for me. Essential oils are great for relaxation at night. Lavender is one of my go-tos. There's so many different types of blends that you can use just to wind down the day. There's a blend that I use from the company that I use. It's called Stress Away. And it's a combination of lavender and lime and vanilla, copaiba. It comes together so beautifully. So, it's just part of my daily routine, and it's a wonderful feeling knowing that I have these little bottles of light, like I like to call them, little bottles of light.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, I've always been fascinated with scent, and there are definitely scents that smell fake, that sort of burn the back of your throat. Mm-hmm. And there are other scents, and I notice this with like body wash and stuff like that. I'm really picky about that, the way the scent is delivered. And I assume that if it's a lower quality, it's going to have that kind of burning aspect to it. And if it's a higher quality, it just smells more pure. But I'm certainly no expert on this stuff, so it's been really fascinating just having you on to kind of dive into that a little bit.
I'm so glad. I mean, the aromas of essential oils are actually a byproduct of the therapeutic benefits that they bring. So, and that's something that's interesting too. But you're right. I mean, there are a lot of products that we can buy over the counter that are just filled with chemicals and synthetics, and it's just, their fragrance is code word for many, many chemicals that a company doesn't necessarily need to disclose. So anytime you see something that's listed as fragrance as a product, that means lots and lots of chemicals.
It's like the fast food joints that don't say milkshakes, they say shakes. Because there's no milk. I heard that a long time ago. Like, pay attention, if it says milkshake, maybe there's milk in it. But if it just says shakes,
you never know.
It's sugar and whipped fat, exactly.
Yeah, yikes.
You do have to watch out for things for sure. And the stream says too that after you ingest something, if you don't feel good, that's a very good sign of something you shouldn't eat. If your body if it's making your body feel bad, then you shouldn't eat it. And also, if you're eating it because you're stressed and DTS, well, of course you're going to have a negative outcome to that. If you're eating to raise your vibration, it's better to raise your vibration first and then eat second. And I used to do that. When I weighed 300 pounds, if I was stressed, I would eat. Yeah. And if I was happy, I would eat. It was a very emotional thing for me. And it's like the answer was food, either direction at that time. And that's how you end up at 300 pounds, right? So I learned to raise my vibration first and feel good about whatever I'm eating, and not, have all the judgment around it and stuff like that. But definitely there are things that I eat and afterward I feel terrible and know, okay, I don't want to feel that again. So I'm not going to eat that anymore. And it's not like we don't have choice and lots of choices for food, right?
We sure do.
And you've changed your diet recently too, right?
About 2 weeks ago, I decided to go plant-based.
And how's that going?
So far, so good, minus a couple of Twix bars I ate on Halloween. But, we're human.
It's Halloween. There's no plant-based Twix bars. Yeah. I do. I haven't, I didn't have any candy this year. I got bags of Skinny Pop to give. And we actually had trick-or-treaters. I didn't think we were going to have trick-or-treaters, and we did. We just had a few. But we did. I'm glad that I bought it. So we gave out Skinny Pop because I didn't want candy in the house.
What's
because that's what happens. I buy the popcorn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like an air-popped popcorn that's supposed to be lower calorie. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Comes in prepackaged. And there were little Halloween bags of Skinny Pop. Oh, and I gave those out. And the kids were fine with it. They didn't turn their nose up at it or anything. Not like the dentist down the street that gives out the toothbrushes for Halloween.
Yeah, that's the guy that's going to get egged.
Yeah, going to get egged for sure, right? So the whole vegan plant-based thing. I like plant-based better than vegan because I was not vegan. I was plant-based for a whole year. Back around 2013, I did it for a whole year. And I was still really overweight when I did it. And it was a radical diet, just born of the desire to lose weight at that time. And I felt really good about it. I read the books that were out at the time. There was one by Alicia Silverstone that I really liked, and a couple of others. And I really got into it. It wasn't a lifestyle as far as no leather and all that. That's what I call a vegan. I like the whole plant-based definition. We didn't really call it that back then. It was called vegan still, just when it was just a diet even. And I did it for a whole year. And in the beginning, I liked it. I felt really good about it. And then it went south for me because I started eating a lot of fake meat that was full of grain. and I actually felt worse and started gaining weight. And so I went back on meat after that, and I've been on meat ever since.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but I think everybody should try things and see what works for them. And again, your attitude towards something supersedes everything as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with this lifestyle because I don't want to call it a diet, but I'm giving myself a month to see how it goes, and so far so good. I feel good. I made vegan pancakes on Sunday morning because my boyfriend made regular pancakes, and I was so close to just having what he made.
I was going to ask if you're the only one in the household doing this then, right?
No, my boyfriend is nowhere, would not even consider omitting meat. And
he's
eggs
a meat-based diet instead of a plant-based diet.
But he agrees with me in terms of healthy lifestyle, things of that nature. But he's not giving up meat. So that's part of I think one of the things that I have to really figure out is like meal planning and food shopping and trying to incorporate meals that we could both eat. Maybe I just switch up the protein if I eat tofu and he has chicken. So it's going to be a little bit of work, but I think it's worth it. But yeah, I made vegan pancakes yesterday and it came out pretty good. I ended up putting maple syrup on it, and that's completely okay on a plant-based diet. And my craving was satisfied, and I was blown away. I had all the ingredients in the house, and it turned out pretty good. I was really happy. I'm like, I could do this.
Yeah, it's kind of fun when you're on a new diet. And I've been on lots of diets, and they never turned into eating plans. They were always a temporary thing. But at best, when I lost the weight and kept it off, I used the diet to get myself started. And then I switched over to a workout regime and stuff like that to continue it and turn it into a lifestyle. So to me, a quote-unquote diet is a good Kickstarter, but you have to have a plan to go somewhere else because the diet isn't going to stick. And it's not going to continually work because you hit a plateau. So it'll be interesting to see what your journey is with plant-based. It's interesting because on one of our summits, somebody came on and asked the stream about veganism. And they said, we are here to discern our preferences, and really there's no judgment from them on anything that we do. So we are literally here on our own making, and we see that. There's a lot of evidence of that all around us, that we are here to make our own decisions, and our life outcome is based a lot more on our attitude about it than what we actually do. And veganism as a movement, they said was actually rooted in ego, because life consumes life. And everything has a vibration, and everything has consciousness, even water. And of course, we all have to have water. We eat plants. The plant is life. And then we don't want to eat animals. The reason we don't want to eat animals is because they're more like us. That's ego. I thought that was really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, and not well received by some, certainly. Yeah. But still, that was an interesting way of looking at it, that we are here, life consumes life, and there's a cycle on the planet that we're part of, and we can choose to move ourselves out of that if we want. There's no judgment about moving ourselves out. But where is your veganism as a movement really rooted? If you choose not to use animal products, that's fine. But I think where they're drawing the line is if you choose to do that, that's fine. But if you need all of humanity to follow you, then that's rooted in ego. I thought that was really, really interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah. Well, anytime somebody says, I believe this and you need to believe the same as me, I've never been down with that.
Oh, no.
I don't think everybody needs to be into Tya. I don't think everybody needs to be into the stream. I don't think there are people that are well served by multiple belief systems.
Absolutely.
And we're intelligent beings, and we're obviously not all here to just agree on everything. And I think if we get to that place, then we'll be closer to peace on earth than we are disagreeing and thinking that our way is the best way and that everybody else is an idiot or wrong or evil or something like that. Just really allowing everyone the space to have their beliefs and to be open-minded to different ideas, even if it includes not using candles, Erica.
Exactly. I have no judgment. I don't want to get
I know. You're killing my you're killing my whole candle game here. Well, it's funny because my best friend, her boyfriend or fiance is a reseller, and his number one selling product since COVID is candles. they're making big bucks on candles.
Oh,
so
yeah, 'cause
I don't
we're
think
all
they're going to
home.
stop selling candles. Yeah, it's a huge, huge business. You're right. And people are home and they want comfort, and they're buying candles.
Yep.
So I hope none of his
true.
customers hear this episode. All right. Well, you've been a fantastic guest because you've been educational and inspiring to many. I'm sure we'll get good feedback. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you if they want to learn more about the things that you teach?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a website, and you can find me at ericalyn.us. So that's ERICALYN.us. My website is based around essential oils, but if you're interested in learning more about oils, if you are looking to get more insight how I can help you use them, or if you're interested in maybe doing health coaching with me or even getting an intuitive medium reading, it's all there. So I would love to be of service if that's something that resonates with you.
Fantastic. Well, again, I'm so appreciative of you taking your time to come and share all your journey with Ty and everything else and all this great information. It's been fantastic having you on.
I had a blast. Thanks, David.
Bye now.
Bye.
Namaste, everyone. Thank you.